We're going over the theme for week 12, which is recovering a sense of faith. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm very excited for this. You guys can fast forward to when we start the conversation. I'm going to give people a little bit more time because I'm a little behind. So I want to give people some time to hop on and get ready. And yes, we'll be doing EFT along with talking about the essays that are coming up right now in this week and just checking and see how we're doing. It's the last Sunday of the year. Hi, Sia. It's the last Sunday of the year. Just saying that feels insane. I was just talking to one of my girlfriends about the fact that at the end of this week is a new year, and it's very jarring. Like this void that we go into pretty much from like winter solstice to the 1st of January, it just feels like a vacuum sometimes. And I swear to you, time, days, they were all the same. This past week, it was so crazy navigating it all. And I'm just like, I don't know if I've ever paid attention to the void that is the journey from winter solstice to the new year to to the level of intention that I did this year. I feel like it was just Monday of last week. And yet here it is. This is so insane. Yeah, I'm in limbo. Same, same. It's just like, whoa, there's so much happening, so much going on. I know to level itself out energetically once the new year gets here and that big rush of energy everyone is feeling kind of fades away. So I love that because even though I don't operate with the new year being in January personally, for me, it's very much the feminine divine new year, which is a lunar new year in February. And then, of course, the zodiac new year in March. So the first is more of like a pre gaming situation for me. It's never go, go, go. And I explain that in one of my essays. I talk about how the feminine divine cycle of time works. So definitely check that out if you haven't read it. It's really good. And yeah, we're gonna just see my energy is truly all over the place. I'm gonna be completely transparent. Like, I prepped for this for sure, but I feel like it's just going to be whatever it is. And my goal is to still have us out of here by 2:30 the latest. And we're just gonna see what happens. I'm definitely gonna read parts from the chapter. Some of them I'm not going to, but I'll do an overview and then we can just talk more in depth about what's coming up for everybody and celebrate. Okay. Yes, yes, my mom always says something similar. Yeah, yeah, like just understanding the way that things flow. Hey, Carla is super important for us to do. And I'm looking forward to what comes in the new year. I have so many great things I can't wait to share with you all. So many things I've been writing about, studying about, living and breathing. It's going to be so much fun. But yeah. Hi, Jack. Hey. Hi. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. All those good things. Okay. So like I said, we are finishing up with week 12. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to host a session next Sunday. I genuinely might. It wouldn't be to recap for this. However, if we ended up doing that, I wouldn't be mad at it. It would just be to kind of check in with you all. I'm restructuring my scheduling on how and when I'll go live. So that'll look different in January for sure. Um, but I do love doing weekly lives with you guys. I just think it's so much fun. It's so chill, so relaxed. Yes. You sent me a message? Okay. I will double check that. I literally was explaining, Carla, I was in a whole void from the 21st to like right now. And I still am very much in the void, but I am present enough to hold space for this time frame. So I will be checking my messages. I usually tend to not check messages towards the end of the year just because everything's up in the air. There are things to do with family, there are energetic things that I'm experiencing. I tend to not be the most reliable right now. However, once we get through that threshold, once we get past the wolf moon on the 3rd, which I'm so excited to talk to you guys about that too. Like, there's just so many things. Ah! Okay. But once that happens, the energy starts to cycle itself out and I could be a bit more present. And then I'll have like my assistant go through everything for you guys. Okay. All right. So excited. All right. Let me read the first part because I feel like we'll just be chatting and we'll get to what we came here to do, which was to finish this book. Okay. All right. Week 12. In the final week, we acknowledge the inherently mysterious spiritual heart of creativity. We address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust, capacities we have developed through our work in this course. We set our creative aims and take a special last minute. Oh, we take a special look at last minute sabotage, which is really good, by the way. We renew our commitment to the use of the tools. So excited. So excited. So happy y'all are with me. Thank you guys for being here. I truly, yeah, of course, of course. I truly just love being here with you all. I cannot believe we're doing our final chapter. Oh, okay. Creativity requires faith. Faith requires that we relinquish control. This is frightening and we resist it. Our resistance to our creativity is a form of self destruction. We throw up roadblocks on our own path. Why do we do this? In order to maintain an illusion of control. Depression, like anger and anxiety, is resistance and it creates dis-ease. This manifests itself into sluggishness, confusion, the I don't know energy, right? The truth is, we do know and we know that we know. Each of us has an inner dream that can unfold if we just have the courage to admit what it is and the faith to trust our own admission. The admitting is often very difficult. A clearing affirmation can open up the channel, or EFT. One excellent one is I know the things I know. Another is I trust my own inner guide. Either of these will eventually yield us a sense of our own direction, which we will often then promptly resist. This resistance is really understandable. We are not accustomed to thinking that God's will for us and our own inner dreams can coincide. Instead, we have brought the message of our culture. This world is a vial of tears, and we are meant to be dutiful and then die. Very dramatic. The truth is that we are meant to be bountiful and live. The universe will always support affirmative action. Our truest dreams of ourselves is always God's will for us. I want to pause right here and talk about the importance of releasing control because the only thing that you can manage are how you respond to things in your life, but you really can't control anything like at all. It's pretty much out of your control most of the time. And as someone who is a recovering control freak, as someone who really thrives feeling like they're in control, it's something I have to consistently remind myself because it also comes up all the time for me where I find myself trying to control something and having to be like, hey, girl, that's not what we do anymore. We're going to let that go. And it's hard for me because I'm often just like, well, if we just do it this way, we use that logical side of our brain so much and it really does mess us up. I often speak about using the emotive side of who you are first and then the logic. Doing it in the opposite, we tend to never get to the emotional. Or by the time we get to the emotional, we've thought it out so much that the emotion doesn't live, it doesn't breathe, doesn't actually give us information anymore. It's just been molded into something that we can logically understand. And emotion is meant to be felt through the body, right? So that's really important. The other thing I want to talk about too is having the mindset of yes and instead of either or. I have developed this so much so that even when we have like the little cute threads or polls where it's like, which one would you rather? I'm like, I want both. I want both. Okay. I want the $1 million and the mansion. Okay. I want both. I don't see why I can't have both. I don't see why I have to pick or choose when I want both. And if I'm a firm believer that I am a creator and that I get to have a say so in what is that I'm experiencing, then my say so is yes and. Yes, I want this and this other thing too. And it's about being intentional so that you're not moving through a space of gluttony, right, or greed, but understanding like, actually, I'm a very abundant person and I do deserve the things that I want. And if I want both of those things, I should be allowed to have them. And understanding that God, source, whoever you call on to, also wants that for you too. It's not just a yes. I mean, it's not just a either or. It really is a yes and. And when we get that through our heads, I think life becomes more fun for us. We're able to experience more things, more joy, more bliss, because we are allowing ourselves to be in receptive mode. Now I'm receiving. I'm not in a scarcity mindset of, okay, if I really have to choose, do I want the love of my life or do I want to have a fulfilling career? Like, that is unnecessary tension and resistance. Really, it's a misuse of energy. It's a poor way to use your energy. It could also just be that maybe the love of your life comes first, and then you have the successful career. But both are happening. They may not happen simultaneously because a lot of us don't have the capacity to do things like that without burning ourselves out or without really savoring the experience. That's something else that really comes up a lot too in slowing down to savor what you're experiencing. Maybe that's why you don't have the other thing yet. Not because you don't deserve it or that it won't come to you, but you really haven't been fulfilled with what you have right now. So, what if we just leaned into that first? Had that full body yes in that moment with that experience. And then we have the full body yes with the next experience. I truly believe that God, source, whoever you call on to, is abundant like that. I don't think that they're like, which one are you going to give up? That whole narrative of, sacrifice too, it can be really, you have to pay attention. It's very nuanced. And a lot of times we think it's like, give up the thing that we love the most for the better of all of humanity. And it feels very dramatic. It makes for good movie. It makes for good for TV, makes for good book reading, all those things. But it is not something that's going to truly allow you to feel like you're living life. If you always think that at some point in time, life is going to get so good that you're going to have to give up something that you really love and cherish in order for it to keep getting good. It's more of you get to a point where you feel amazing and incredible, and you realize that there are things that no longer vibrate at the same frequency, and you must let those things go to make space for more of what you've been vibrating with. That's not a bad thing. And it's actually not as painful to experience because you understand, oh, in me letting that relationship go or that job go, that thing go, they too get to flourish. That person gets to find their person. That job gets to find an employee that really loves that position more than I do, right? It's moving from a space of abundance. And I want us to remember that. I'm speaking this for myself as well. Remembering those things are super important because that really is the energetics of the universe. It is always a yes and whatever you want, but it's whatever you want, not what other people have told you that you wanted. It's not what you want because someone else has it either. These have to be your own true desires. And if that is true for you, then the universe is always a yes and. It's only a no when it's really not for you. So if you don't have something that you want right now, it could be that it's just not for you. Make sure that you know where that desire is coming from. Let me know if that makes sense before we move on. Okay. Hi, Sierra. Let's see. All good. Yes, 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 yes. Release and control. Yep. All the above. Right. I feel like you were savoring life, but it's a great example. Thank you. I feel like I'm getting better at it. Like sometimes I'm just like, what is this? I experience frustration, but I do feel like I'm getting better at enjoying it and reminding myself. I feel like I get those moments where I do get frustrated and it's an opportunity for me to practice rewiring, resetting my mindset and being like, okay, girl, you feel frustrated. However, you also know that you are infinite, ancient, and abundant. So what are we doing? We're going to keep feeling frustrated or are we going to tap in and lock in with the magic that's within you and all around you? And I need those moments right now for the season that I'm in so I can continue practicing because I tend to go on autopilot about my magic. I tend to go on autopilot about the way that the universe will show up for me and give me unexpected blessings. It tends to be on autopilot and it does sound like really cool, but you can forget that you're operating from that space. So you have those moments that drop in to remind you like, this is an active choice. You should actively be choosing to live in your magic, to live in your abundance actively, constantly, right? It allows for us all to have a better experience. Um, hi, Hasiera. Yes. Hi, Tori. Good morning. Yeah. So I just want to put that out there. Yes, and not either or. And if someone is like, no, but if you had to pick, please don't put me in those situations, even if it is hypothetically. I don't play with the universe like that. I don't play with my energy like that. I said yes, and. And quite often, when you do that, people will either acquiesce because they see how resolute you are, or they will dismiss you. Either way, you maintain your frequency. I can't tell you how many times we're playing a game. I'm like, yeah, but I want that. And they're like, okay, but here are your options. I'm like, and I see you and I hear you. And I also said I want both. So either I get both or I don't. But I don't want to have something in between because that's what really messes us up energetically when we just kind of accept whatever we can get That's that energy, that frequency of desperation. We don't wanna move from that. We don't wanna move from a space of desperation. Oh, well, this is all I can get. I am the type of girl where I'm good on waiting until I get what I want. And the best example I can give you, we were road tripping. We did a family trip to Massachusetts, to the mountains. My niece is into snowboarding. It was a journey for me. I don't do cold, but I do love my niece, so I just sucked it up. And I spent time in the hot tub, and that helped. So we're coming back, we're driving back, and we're like, "Okay, what are we gonna get to eat? What are we going to eat?" And I'm very adamant about the fact that I do not eat at McDonald's, like, at all. Like, I will still eat fast food if I absolutely have to, but it will never be McDonald's. I'd rather starve. Rather starve. I've been like this since I was 15. I would rather starve. So we're going. Sister's like, well, that's the only place that's out here. I'm like, that's fine. Like, y'all get what y'all want to get. That's totally cool. It's not a problem. But for me, I'm not eating that. I just know too much. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So sister's like, oh my God, girl, but you have to eat. And I'm like, yes. However, I want to put something in my body that I want, that I know I can get energy from. I'm not getting that from this, so I'm not doing it. Like, so they get it. And sure enough, another place pops up that I'm like, okay, I can do something from here. This I can do. And there was no sign to it. Actually, when we were driving, it was on the other side of the highway where we couldn't get to it. So I was just like, oh, it's fine. I'll just wait it out. We're only like a few hours from home. It's not that deep. I have like tea. I'm fine. Somehow we made the wrong turn and ended up going back around and going right past the place. And I was able to get food that I wanted. And my niece was like, how did you do that, Auntie Lo? I'm like, I'm very devoted to the decisions that I make. And I knew that I would have felt terrible eating that McDonald's simply because it was what was available to me. And I was so hungry, knowing that that would have made me feel sluggish. It would have made me feel gross. Like, I wouldn't have felt good. I was willing to starve until I got what I wanted. And I know it could feel very dramatic, but normally when you get to that space of uh, being so resolute, the answer's like right there. You're not waiting for long. You're not starving forever. You're usually like, okay, cool. I don't have what I want right now. That's cool. I'll enjoy the environment, whatever. There are other things that can placate me right now that aren't me giving up my power. And then as soon as you get to that space and you feel settled in your decision, boom, the blessing is there for you. Big or small, however you want to interpret it. But I just feel like that's a good visual to explain the importance of making sure that you fully understand what your desire is. And if your desire is to have multiple things, to allow yourself to have that and to be ruthless about it. I I don't you and I are not the same. When someone is talking to me and they come from a scarcity mindset, and it's like, that could be for you, but I'm a whimsy bitch, right? I genuinely believe that things are going to work itself out for me in the most craziest and funnest of ways. And I have no problem waiting for that to develop. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to refocus on the things that I can influence. Maybe that's checking in on my breath. Maybe that's meditating. Maybe that's slowing down or looking for beauty or having a deep conversation. I'm going to fill in the gap with shit that feels good for me until I get to what I want. But what I'm not going to do is accept this because you told me I have no choice. I always have a choice. You may not have a choice, but I always have a choice. And I'm good with both consequences. I'm good with having exactly what I want, and I'm good with not having what I exactly want right the fuck now. But I'm never good with just accepting scraps from anybody in any situation for anything. Okay? Let's see. There's a middle path, a third way. Exactly, Tori. Was I? Oh my goodness. I was in the Berkshires. That's where we went. Let's see. Yes, I'm the same way about Mickey D's. Gross. Not ever say right. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't care if I'm hungry. Okay. It will not be happening. It will not be going in this vessel. Yeah, I'm going to be, yeah, for sure. Like, not too much. Not too much. Okay, let's continue. Joseph Campbell wrote, follow your bliss and doors will open where there were no doors before. It is this inner commitment to be true to ourselves and follow our dreams that triggers the support of the universe. While we are ambivalent, the universe will seem to us also to be ambivalent and erratic. The flow through our lives will be characterized by spurts of abundance and long spells of drought. when our supply dwindles to a mere trickle. If we look back at the times when the world seemed to be a capricious and untrustworthy place, we see that we were ourselves ambivalent and conflicted in our goals and behaviors. Once we trigger an internal yes by affirming our truest goals and desires, the universe mirrors that yes and expands it. This there's a path for each of us. When we are on our right path, our best path, we have a sure footedness. We know the next right action, the next best action. I love to replace best with right with best because right feels like perfection and best is just like that can vary from moment to moment. We know the best next action, although not necessarily what is just around the bend. By trusting, we learn to trust. It's like a chicken before the egg kind of concept, right? You kind of have to, with faith, it's really about enacting and embodying before seeing the physical results. And I feel like that's why a lot of people struggle with faith. And I know for myself, for a really long time, I struggled with having faith, struggle with it. And I was very open about it too. I struggled with it. It was like I needed something materialistic, something in the physical form for me to be like, okay, cool. I can move forward. But just stepping blindly, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And for me, that was because I had a lack of self trust. I wasn't really trusting the decisions that I was making. And I was doing that subconsciously. And it took a while for it to catch up to me consciously to be like, oh, you actually have not been satisfied with your decisions. So you don't really trust yourself, which explains why you're having a hard time experiencing faith or practicing it, right? That was one thing. And then the other thing was vamping what faith looks and feels like for me. When I realized that faith is just having confidence in your divine source, I was like, oh my God, I do this. I'm super confident in my divine sources. Like I'm super confident in myself. Like once I redefine the word, because faith has all these concepts and perspectives that are attached to it. And you can get caught up in all of that and not really see the word for the value it brings because you have all these distortion. Once I got past the distortion, it was like, oh, it's just simply about having confidence. I does that. I does that. I got that. I can definitely have confidence in my ancestors. Um, in the Black Madonna and Oshun and Medusa, the deities that I work with in particular, I have a lot of confidence in them because I see a lot of myself in the journeys that they've had to experience, right? I see a lot of myself in the way that they've shown up and embraced their power and have contributed to the world, whether it be through lore or whether it be through leaving some type of legacy, right? And I love that I knew that about myself. So once I revamped that to having confidence, it was like a light bulb switch went on. And it just, faith has been the easiest thing for me now. I was like, oh yeah, no, it'll work itself out. And I'm not saying it in hopes that it does. I'm saying it with this absolute knowing that it will work itself out. There's actually no other option but for it to work itself out. There's no other option that I'm willing to acknowledge other than it working itself out. So important when you get to have that alignment between your conscious and your subconscious and it's on the same page, it really makes you so firm in how you show up and what you express and what you share. To the point where 100 people could tell me, like, well, that's been my experience. I'm like, and I hear that for you and I see that for you, but that's not my concern. And you're trying to push it on me in hopes that you're like helping me to deal with like the failure that might be in the future. But that failure is also a maybe. But my faith in myself and my ability to attract what I want for myself, my faith in my ancestors to protect me, to guide me, to place me where I need to be placed, my faith in the divine source that I call onto to love and care for me and provide me with exactly what I need when I need it is absolute. That's not a maybe. Their track record is impeccable. Never been let down once in my 35 years. I don't plan on that ever happening in the future. However, you pushing on a maybe you might fail at this, what what am I doing with that information? Like that doesn't help me. Doesn't help me, you know? And I am very cautious that when I share my experience and it wasn't maybe the best experience with a certain space or things like that, I will often say, that's my experience. I'm sharing it with you because it would not feel good for me to know that I experienced some type of shadiness or, you know, disrespect, whatever it was. And you and I are aligned. We're in that same vibration. So it's possible to happen for you. I want you to have your eyes open so you can make a decision full heartedly. Because sometimes people are really good at tricking good people, right? They're tricking you to make you believe something is happening for you. And then once you say yes, you realize that it was a farce. I hated being that person where I had already known that was going to be the vibe, but I didn't say anything because I'm like, I don't want to influence your decision. I had to get to the point and realize, like, I can't influence their decisions unless they decide that I do. And then that is for them to take responsibility for, not for me. All I can do is share the information when I feel led to share the information and do so in a way that is intentional and considerate so that they can move forward and do whatever they want to do. And I've done that with girlfriends, and they've either had a really great experience because they were aware of what was going on and knew how to move, or they were able to say, you know what? I was getting this vibe too, but I was dismissing it until you said something, and now I'm going to follow it through. And they were able to take themselves out of a situation that could be really harmful for them. I've had both of those experiences, but I've never had it where I share that and someone feels like I have shrunk them or made them feel like they were in a cage and they couldn't have what they wanted. There is a way to do it. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we literally was just on the little resort for the most of the time. I was wearing pajamas, like, mostly every day. I think I got dressed up once to go grocery shopping for the kids. That's really that was the extent of me going places. It was really for the kids. See, I would love to go back knowing all these things are here. Sometimes someone called Yemaya, as in the Orisha, was on Inside Time this morning. I just fell off my chair, took it as a beautiful sign on this typical morning. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. Okay. Boom. Now we're on to our second essay, Mystery. I love this essay. It's so good. It's short and it's potent, but it's so delicious. Creativity, like human life itself, begins in the darkness. We need to acknowledge this. All too often, we think only in the terms of light. And then the light bulb went off and I got it. I literally just said that. It's true that insights may come to us in flashes. It is true that some of these flashes may be blinding. It is, however, also true that such bright ideas are preceded by a gestation period that is interior, murky, and completely necessary. We speak often about ideas as brain children. She brought that up a lot in this book. I actually chose to omit that because it was really insensitive to like birthing bodies who may have had miscarriages. Like, I know she was trying to make the parallel, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. So she did talk about it a lot. I just haven't talked about it a lot. I just found a better way to express it. What we do not realize is that brain children, like all babies, should not be dragged from the creative womb prematurely. Ideas form in the dark inner cave of consciousness. They form in drips and drops, not by squared off building blocks. We must learn to wait for an idea to hatch. Or to use a gardening image, we must learn to not pull our ideas up by the roots to see if they're growing. Mulling on the page is an artless art form. It is fooling around, it's doodling. It is the way the ideas slowly take shape and form until they are ready to help us see the light. All too often, we try to push, pull, outline, and control our ideas instead of letting them grow organically. The creative process is a process of surrender, not control. Mystery is at the heart of creativity. That and surprise. All too often, when we say we want to be creative, we mean that we want to be able to be productive. Now, to be creative is to be productive, but by cooperating with the creative process, not forcing it. As creative channels, we need to trust the darkness. We need to learn to gently mull instead of churning away like little engines on a straight ahead path. This mulling on the page can be very threatening. I'll never get any real ideas this way, we fret. Hatching an idea is a lot like baking bread. An idea needs to rise. If you poke at it too much at the beginning or you keep checking on it, it will never rise. A loaf of bread or a cake baking must stay for a long, good time in the darkness and safety of the oven. Open that oven too soon and the bread collapses. Or the cake gets a hole in its middle because all the steam has rushed out of it. Creativity requires a respectful process. The truth is that this is how to raise the best ideas. Let them grow in the dark in mystery. Let them form on the roof of our consciousness. Let them hit the page in droplets. Trusting the slow and seemingly random drip, we will be startled by one day this flash of, oh, that's it. Love this. Mystery is like my jam. Hi, Fatima. Love me a good mystery. I love embracing the energy of mystery, of knowing that I'm not omnipresent. I'm not going to know everything all the time, and that being completely okay. Moving slowly and with intention, super important. Allowing things to take the time it needs to grow, to fully form, super important. There is a difference between being productive and progression. We want progress. We want to be able to look and see that with each stage or with each lesson in life, we have become more refined. We have become more aware, more soft, all the good things. That is what progress is. Productivity is a very short way to feel like you're doing something, but you're short sighted. You're only seeing what's right in front of you. And that action of moving makes you feel like you're doing something amazing when in fact, a lot of times for creatives, you being productive unintentionally drains you of your energy because you're not really doing it with any real thought. You're just like, well, I gotta keep moving, right? I'm gonna write every single day because I'll build up the habit and it won't matter and things like that. Some people operate that way. And I will say it's important for you to really understand like your your energy, how you're built, whether that's your human design, your astrology, whatever it is, whether that's just understanding, the seven chakras and how they work for you. Understanding your energy is very important because some of us are meant to do that. Showing up every single day in that way really does allow us to have progress. And for some of us, it doesn't. It actually causes us to be in this hamster wheel where we're not making any real progress at all, but we're hella productive and we're also exhausted and a little burnt out. So normally, people who find me, they tend to be the latter, where we move at a different pace. So I know for me, my creative process, it's not always doing work every single day. And that is very hard to explain to my Capricorn placements where they're like, girl, let's just get it done. There are some times where I am meant to just lounge and relax and chill out and enjoy life. And look, there's a flower. Oh, look at the petals and really dive in deep. And then as soon as I'm deep in beauty, all of a sudden ideas start coming out of nowhere. I'm like trying to grab everything that I can, writing it down. I've gotten better at collecting the data by like doing voice notes. I have methods and systems that help now. But when I was younger, I had to come to that realization of slowing down and embracing beauty is what allows me to progress in my art, in my profession, and my personal growth. Just showing up every day because I freaking have to. And if I don't do it, I'm falling off. That energy just feels so shitty. I don't like the way that that feels at all. And it's not a discomfort that helps you grow. It's a discomfort that keeps you stagnant, where all you can do is focus on how yucky you feel that you can't really get out of it. And then you end up being in a cycle that you didn't want to be in to begin with. Let me know if that makes sense before we move forward. Let's see. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Jack, for the notes. Let me see. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, goodness gracious. Every time I'm trying to see you guys, creativity. Yes, yes. Mystery, surprise, surrender. Yes. Yay. Hi, Fatima. Yeah. It's just like mystery is so good. And I do feel like darkness gets a bad rap. And I feel that is why I'm here to help show the amount of love and warmth that is within darkness because it's really just been whitewashed, right? It's just like if it's light and it's white, then it's right? It's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's going to move you forward. That's bullshit, honestly. Sometimes the light can be so blinding you know where you're going. You can't even see that you're walking into danger. Sometimes it can be that, for sure. A lot of times we look at darkness like, but there's monsters, there's aspects of me lurking in the dark that I don't want to see. Why not? Why would you not want to go explore the depths of who you are? We're so eager to want to dive in deep in other people's lives and what they're doing and how they're living and make judgment on all those things. It's because we really don't want to do it for ourselves. We don't want to practice discernment and see what's lying underneath. We much rather focus on something outside of ourselves and live in our quote unquote light and be like, I would never do that. And then when you sit with yourself and you realize, like, actually, I would probably be worse in that situation, it's good for you to know. I want us to be able to look at both our loving side and our vicious sides and be at peace with both of them and trust that you're not just going to lash out at people and be mean and ruthless and revengeful simply because it exists. Like, you have a level of intellect and authority over how you express what's within us. We all have these levels of self. Some of it might be a little bit more advanced or deeper than others, but we all have the ability to do these things. All of us. However, if you are unaware that you have that ability to do it, you're more likely to use it unconsciously and really hurt someone or a dynamic or really mess up an environment that you cherish because you were unwilling to explore your darkness. Because you allowed yourself to be so indoctrinated that only things that move in the light are good, that you literally forfeited half of your power, half your connection to God, half your connection to source. There's if you get an email from me, a personal email, at the bottom of it, it always says, do whatever you need to do to get closer to God. That is one of my favorite sayings, phrases, statements, because I don't know what that is for you. And I also know I'm not going to judge you for it. However, you need to get closer to God, you should let no one get in your way of getting close to God, getting close to your divine source. Nothing should get in your way. Not a person, not a perspective, not a place, nothing. You should be able to allow yourself to do what it takes to build up the courage and the confidence to get closer to God by any means necessary. And I can assure you that includes navigating your darker sides, being able to be aware of them. And if you feel like, okay, I need help in this aspect or with this urge or this feeling, then getting the help that you need, going to a professional and getting the help that you need to be able to navigate that, to see if it's coming from a trauma, which most times it is, so that you can heal, so that you can evolve and grow, so that it can become something that just shows the way that you've been blessed in life to continue to evolve despite something horrible happening, right? Despite having such a unsavory aspect of yourself. That doesn't mean that you're not loved or cared for. It doesn't mean that you now are neglected by divine source. And I feel like in any scripture that you may read from any sacred text, it is always that you are loved and cared for. Like, these are things that we are trying to aspire to be, not being judgmental, moving from a place of love. And we're going to fall short because we're human beings. We're meant to have that duality in life. But that doesn't mean that God stops loving you because you're human. Like, God's fully aware you're human. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're allowed to have those moments. But if you don't even acknowledge the fact that you sometimes can make mistakes or you sometimes can act in a way that is not within alignment of your higher self, you're always going to set yourself up for failure. You will always set yourself up for failure because you don't know what you're capable of. You don't really know how your energy moves in life. That is super reckless. And if you are someone who has a calling on your heart, you know you're here to serve a community, you have a deep purpose in life, you have art to express, you really need to be aware of your darker urges. You need to be aware of the darkness and the wisdom that comes from that. The fact that life is birthed from darkness. That when you're in the womb, it is dark. It's not a bright light party. It's dark, it's warm, and you're being fed, you're being nourished. You're growing. And you're experiencing levels of discomfort because you're about to expand and to become something else outside of that space. That is the part that many of us do not pay attention to. We don't tap in. We just ignore it. So, like, embrace the mystery, embrace the darkness. Stop looking at it as like this demonic aspect of self. You're a human being. You're not a demon. You're not demonic. That's not a thing. I want us to let that go too. Stop letting Hollywood get in your head and just know that you have duality and that you should explore both sides so you fully understand who you are. Okay? Um, yes, okay, great, great. Need to dilly-dally sometimes to give it time to simmer. Exactly, Carla. I don't do well under surveillance or with rigid structures. Carla, speak on it. Although structure is imperative, exactly. And I've come to understand my need to move slowly is because my thinking is usually big picture. Yes, I can see that. And I go deep and broad, right? I need to take time. I need to take my time to understand how to express it. Yes, it makes sense within. It ain't bite sized once I have to get it out. Exactly, exactly. Taking that time to explore that. Many of us, like Carla said, we are big picture thinkers. We are. We see all of this. But like we're also taught that we should be, but, like, in a very weird way where it's, like, actually big be think about it one time, all right? That's your why. You should feel it. Write it down. Now do these very small steps all the time in this way to get to that point. And you get lost in the journey. You get lost in the details. And you don't have the time to go back and reflect and see, did the big picture shift? Did it change now that I have new life experience, better skill sets, new relationships? Maybe my big picture has shifted a bit. But if you're moving slowly with intention, like Carla was speaking about, you get to see those shifts more often of like, oh, you know what? We were heading this way, but this way feels better. And you're able to make that change without imploding your life because you're paying attention to what it feels like overall and then diving into those details and then checking back in. That sense of duality. If there's one thing I can tell you for 2026, we're going to be exploring the law of polarity. We're going to be exploring duality. It's going to be pretty much in everything that you get from me because there are so many aspects and ways to properly understand duality. It's woven throughout your entire life, like in everything, even down to how the months are set up. Like everything is duality. Everything is yin yang. Every single aspect is dark light. I'm super excited to start sharing that with you. But in the context of what we're talking about here, being able to go big and then tune inward to go big, that movement is progression. Okay? It's progression. We want that to feel safe enough to dream big, to see it all, and then to feel skilled enough to go into the detail and not get lost, but to say, okay, cool. I've done enough with the detail. Let me go back and see that full picture again. Hmm. Where do I need to refine? Where do I need to adjust? That really is what we're supposed to be doing. That is what's going to give us exactly what we want from life and then some. Okay? Let's see. Hi, China. Welcome. Yes. All right. Next essay. The imagination at play. Is this one with her friend? Okay. Because there's one where I'm like, I'm not telling you the friend story. I'm just going to give you a synopsis. All right. When we think about creativity, it is all too easy to think art with a capital A. For our purposes, capital A, art is a scarlet letter, branding us as doomed. In order to nurture our creativity, we require a sense of festivity, even humor. Art that somebody's sister I used to date. She's just trying to tell a joke. Essentially, she's saying art should feel silly, it should feel playful. We are an ambitious society, and it's often difficult for us to cultivate forms of creativity that do not directly serve us or our career goals. Recovery urges us to re-examine definitions of creativity and to expand them to include what in the past we called hobbies. The experience of creating life, the experience of creative life argues that hobbies are in fact essential to joyful living. Then, too, there is the hidden benefit that they are also creatively useful. Many hobbies involve a form of artist brain mulling that leads to enormous creative breakthroughs. When I have a screenwriting student stuck at a midpoint in Act Two, I ask them to please go and do their household mending. They usually balk, offended by such a mundane task, but remember, magic is in the mundane, okay? But sewing has a nice way of mending up plots. Gardening is another hobby I often assign to creativity students. When someone is panicked halfway across the bridge into a new life, repotting plants into larger and better containers quite literally grounds that person and gives him or her a sense of expansion, right? Spiritual benefits accompany the practice of a hobby. There is a release into humility that comes from doing something by routine. As we serve our hobby, we are freed from the ego's demands, the unhealthy ego's demands, and allow the experience of merging with greater source. This conscious contact frequently affords us the perspectives needed to solve vexing personal creative conundrums. It is a paradox of creativity, of creative recovery, that we must be serious about taking ourselves lightly. We must work at learning to play. Creativity must be freed from the narrow perimeters of capital A art and recognized as having much broader play. As we work on our morning pages and artist dates, many forgotten samplings of our own creativity may come to mind. Maybe you forgot all the paintings that you did when you were younger, or you suddenly remember that you loved acting and were a main character in a play and you were really good at it. Or you might have forgotten about the skits that you wrote, or you've forgotten that you used to dance really well and enjoy that. As we write, digging ourselves out of denial, our memories, dreams, and creative plans all move to the surface. I really love this part. We discover anew that we are creative beings. The impulse cooks in us all, simmering along all the time, without our knowledge, without our encouragement, even without our approval. It moves beneath the surface of our lives, showing in bright flashes, like a penny in our stream of thoughts, like new grass under snow. We are intended to create. We refurbish a kitchen. We tie bows on a holiday cat. We experiment with a better soup. The same child who brewed perfume from a dab of this and a dab of that grows up to buy potpourri and boil a spice pot, and it gives them a feeling of Christmas. As gray as controlled, as dreamless as we may strive to be, the fire of our dreams will not stay buried. The embers are always there, stirring in our frozen souls like winter leaves. It's just so dramatic. Sometimes, like, girl, wow. They won't go away. They're sneaky. We make a doodle in a boring meeting. We post a silly card in our office board. We nickname the boss something wicked. That's playful trickster energy. Plant twice as many flowers as we need. Restive in our lives, we yearn for more. We wish and we chafe. We sing in the car, slam down the phone, make lists, clear closets, sort through shelves. We want to do something, but we think it needs to be the right something, by which we mean something important. We are what's important. And that's something that we can be, and the something that we can be something festive but small. Dead plants can go. Mismatched sock can bite the dust. We are stung by loss, bitten by hope. Working with our morning pages can feel gaudy. And we're going to skip over this. Essentially, she talks about ebbing and flowing, because this is just a lot of examples that I really don't want to have to go over. Okay, so let's pause here. So she's talking about the fact that when you allow yourself to be an artist and you're showing up with that level of faith and intention in sharing your work and living your life as an artist, you're going to notice the ebbing and the flow. You're going to notice times where it feels really good and you want to have a bit more pizzazz in your life. And then you're going to notice that you kind of get into a low. And then you're excited and inspired to go back up. This concept really reminds me of the infinity symbol, and it is the 8 that lays down on its side. And it shows you that at some point in time, you're going to have these really beautiful high moments. And in those high moments, it's really important for you to savor them, not to hold on to them and suffocate them, but to savor them. Savor how they make you feel. Savor the inspiration and creativity that comes from that. Because internally, you know that at some point in time, you're going to have to level back out and go down again. And you'll get to that point where you're ebbing. And a lot of people are afraid to ebb. They're terrified of it. They think it means that all of these negative things have gotten a hold of them and that they just have not worked hard enough to get through. That is not what ebbing is, okay? And when you look at things like depression, and the heaviness that it provides, I want to give a different perspective, right? An energetic one. When we are feeling depressed, there's definitely a chemical aspect to this. I'm not talking about it from a mental wellness point of view, okay? So if you have been diagnosed with depression, take this with a grain of salt, because there are other things at play. But if you're someone who has you feel depressed as opposed to being diagnosed with one, because as someone who has been diagnosed with depression, there is a difference, okay? But when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling heavy, you're feeling sad, it really is an opportunity. It's slowing you down. It usually feels like a weight. Don't move as much. You don't want to go outside as much. We're thinking that it's isolation, but really it's intentional on an energetic level. Like, you've been spending too much time avoiding the fact that we have to figure this shit out. You're unhappy. We are unhappy. So we're not going to have this inspiration to go out and be around friends right now because we need to figure out what's going on with our energy. I'm not going to get up and distract myself with work or something else. I need to figure out if I actually still like this job, if I still like this person that I'm dating. When you get to a point where life is slowing you down and you're feeling those heavier emotions, look at it as guides. This is why I get so frustrated when people are talking about emotions like these negative things that you have to get rid of that ruin your life. They really are guides. They're giving you valuable information that if you took the time to pay attention to integrate the information, you wouldn't be experiencing that level of heaviness for as long as many of us do, to where the point where it does become some type of mental dis-ease, right? Some type of physical ailment, because it has to progress that way, because the information needs to be given to you. When you do not value the information, it just sits and it festers in the body and it waits until you pay attention. It will do whatever it takes to get your attention. So if you don't understand it when maybe you stub your toe and your body was trying to slow your ass down because you were moving too fast, then it might turn into something where you feel a little sad. It might progress into being into a situation that makes you feel worse about yourself. And it's not to say like, okay, so essentially we only manifest through pain. It's a human flaw, maybe, or aspect that we tend to respond to pain more than we do to joy. When we're feeling good, we don't pay attention to our bodies at all. We're just out there living life, dancing, doing all the things. Oh, workout, I'll work out later. I feel amazing. We're doing all these things. We're not locked in. We're not paying attention to what our bodies are feeling at all. But when we are sick, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, when we're off centered, that's all we're focused on. The only thing we can think about is ourselves. Hey, why do I feel like this? Oh my God, why do I keep crying about this situation? Why can't I get up and enjoy my life? We start focusing in on ourselves. This is this is why I said like our bodies are so incredible, the way that they show up for us. We be thinking that it's a bad thing, but it's like, yo, it's amazing. As someone who was diagnosed with lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, when I started to understand the energetic properties of it, I began to have an appreciation for what it is that I was experiencing. It went from my body, I hate my body because it's attacking me and I'm always in the hospital, to, hey, autoimmune disorders and disease equals to a lack of self love or an abundance of self hate. Which one is it for you? And for me, it was a lack of self love. And I had to rebuild that sense of loving myself, trusting myself, finding myself worthy. And as I did, for me, my symptoms became way more manageable to where now I can do it holistically for the most part. The diagnosis still exists. It's still there. Sometimes it kicks my ass. Most times it doesn't because I'm so in tune with myself. I've been able to revamp my lifestyle not around the illness per se, but around what it symbolized for me, which was around loving myself and making sure that I felt safe in the decisions that I was making, in the environments that I was in, and in the relationships that I was in. That's what those things symbolize for me. And I revamped my life around that feeling, that need to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel loved. And that is why I feel like I live a really good life. I have really healthy relationships with myself, with my source, with my friends in my love life. Like I'm able to really do things in a different way. And it all stemmed from me finally paying attention because I had no choice. My body sat my ass down. It was like, girl, until you pay attention, we're not doing shit anymore. You're not gonna be able to walk on your own, sweetie. You're not going to classes to allow yourself to dive into your intellectual side, to ignore the fact that you aren't happy here. We're not doing any of that shit. You will get better because as your body, I chose your soul. We're locked into this until you go to your next point in life. So you will get it together, sweetie. I tried to do the whole give you a nudge here, do a little this there. You kept ignoring me. I had to sit you down. That is usually what happens for many of us. And it comes in whatever form is going to actually sit us down. For me, I had to physically be unable to move because I had that go-getter hustle and grind mentality of go, 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 get it done. I had to really have no choice but to be laying in bed because every move that I made felt like my body was on fire. That I could only focus on my eternal. and realize like, wow, I'm actually really mean to myself. I say a lot of like fucked up things about me. Why do I say that all the time? What's going on? Why do I do that? Starting to pay attention and be like, okay, I don't like that. Then all of a sudden I'm moving more. I'm growing more. I'm able to do more. I want to share that with you because I think it's super important that that ebbing is really where we grow. I believe that the flow is a reward. But the ebbing is where we grow. The darkness is where we grow. It's where we get wisdom. It's where we get fortified. And then we start to feel that motion again and we're back up into the light, quote unquote. And we're in flow again. And we're experiencing all the beauty that comes with that. I really believe that that is that dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Then when we can respect that, and that's what she's asking us to do, when we can respect that, we will go so far. When we can, in the flow, play more, be serious about playing and having fun, not sacrificing our joy for anybody, really living in it, savoring it, we will still have remnants of that feeling, of that information that we received from being in flow as we go into the ebbing. And it's a smoother journey when you ebb then. Because now you know it's not like, oh, I'm depressed because something's wrong with me. It's like, oh, wait, something in my life got to go. Wait a minute. Let me check and see. Let me audit my relationships again. Do I like this job? Let me see. What am I writing about? What am I doing in my creative life? Is this really what I want to do or is this what I'm getting paid to do? Wait a minute. You start going in with a curious mindset in ebb. Ebb starts to become fun because it's like, oh, I'm slowing down. Wait a minute. You start to shift it. It becomes less of a, oh man, and more like a, okay, all right. I move a little too fast. Okay, let me let me see what's going on. And as soon as you come to that perspective, boom, you're back into flow again. You're having fun. Do you see? You start to flow through that 8 a lot better, a lot smoother. And it becomes fun. It becomes exciting. Life starts to feel like a game. You start to take your play more seriously. And in you doing so, you're practicing more, you're refining your skills, and you're progressing. You're progressing. Somewhere in there, productivity is probably happening, sure, but it's not the main character. It's very much a supporting role, as it's supposed to be. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. I'm going to read the comments. Thank you for the symbol. Jack, it will do what it takes to get your attention and sit you down. Yes, it will. Serene, I feel that with emotions and fibro. Yes, yeah, 100%. And another great book that I always recommend is by Louise Hay. Um, You Can Heal Your Life. I feel like that's the name of it. It's in my living room somewhere. But she has an encyclopedia where it breaks down what the spiritual aspect is of the ailments that you have. That's how I learned about autoimmunes being a lack of self-love or an abundance of self-hate and realizing like, oh, wow. A lot, especially Black women in particular, there was like this research study that went around that we tend to suffer the most from autoimmune disorders because we hold in a lot of our rage and our anger. We suppress it. That is that's a lack of self-love. I'm willing to inflict rage and anger that's not for me onto me because I don't want it to be for you, even though it's for you. I'm willing to harm myself so that you're good, even though you should feel my rage and my anger because it came up for a reason. We tend to do that a lot. And it's usually based out of survival for Black women of the need to not be seen as the angry Black woman in our jobs so that we don't lose our ability to pay for our food and our housing and our families, things like that, to be considered desirable to, potential mates, especially if they are, heterosexual men, all those things like that. We tend to do those things. And we are essentially keeping all of that energy in our body and it is eating us from the inside out. It is attacking its energy source. That's the same thing that happens with an autoimmune disorder or a disease. I don't care which one it is. It comes down to the fact that your body thinks that it is a threat to itself. So it's going to start attacking itself in hopes to save itself. It is a very wild concept. Your body is so confused that it's assuming that the very thing that it's trying to keep alive is trying to kill it. That is what you're dealing with mentally and physically when you're diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. That's a lot to process. Then you think about the fact that you're getting this because you were suppressing feelings and information that should have been shared with that person. They could also be a better person, or you can change your environment or your dynamic. You chose to keep it in because you were trying to do respectability politics instead of honoring yourself. You were choosing to hate yourself or love yourself less for a random person that you don't even like. Do you see what I mean? Like all these things are connected. They're all layered. Jung said, when depression shows up at the door, invite her in and see what she has to say. Yes. Not to say not to get treatment. Right. Exactly. But there are oftentimes important meanings there. Exactly. Anytime that I start to feel a little depressed or manic even, I have to slow down and be like, okay, girl, what's going on here? And normally I'm able to see that there is a lack of care for myself, whether that means that I have been allowing someone to overstep a boundary, or I haven't really been nourishing my body the way that I needed to. Or for me right now in the season, it's like not having as much fun as I should be having because of the environments in which I live in. That has been a big one for me in this season of like, I need to have more fun. And when I don't have fun, I really turn into a crazy chaos bunny and it's just unnecessary. It's just, I'm already dramatic. I need spaces to let the drama out. And right now, I'm just being ridiculously dramatic in my life. And it's just not necessary because I have a pretty peaceful life. So, yes, 100%. This is what I mean by looking at the things in life more as an invitation or like a friend. That's why I don't look at fear as an op. I look at fear as a friend. A very worried friend who's like, oh my God, girl, I just want you to live to see another day. That's why you can't go on stage and perform that song. You die. You die. And I love you too much. And it's like, okay, girl, it could feel like that. And maybe it is an energetic death. Maybe it is a spiritual death that needs to happen. But guess what? We're going to survive it. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do this thing. And we're going to be okay. It's super unfamiliar, but I have skills. And I have friendship. I have sisterhood. I have resources. I can get through this. As opposed to being like, fuck fear. Fear's terrible. And, oh, I'm going to do what I want. It's not necessary, y'all. The machismo wellness aspect of like just gun holing it through and just, it's not necessary. I'm sure that there are results. And I definitely remember getting results like that when I was younger. But now that I'm more aware of how my energy works, it wouldn't give me the same. No, it just would be a waste of my time and energy. Okay. Serene heard, appreciate that. Yes, it became debilitating until I left an awful situation and loved on me. Oh, Serena, I'm so happy that you had that change, though. Now I can never not listen to myself or ignore when those around me cause me fibro pain, physical pain. Yep. It becomes like your bodyguard in a way. I don't know how other people feel with the ailments that they may have, but I know as somebody, again, dealing with autoimmune disorders, when I start to feel sick or start having physical reactions to a person or an experience or a space, oh baby, I'm ready to go. That's my clear sign that we're not in the same frequency anymore. And if I keep playing with you, I'm gonna be the one that gets sick in the hospital. No. That is also where I learned to let go of my rage and just let it be what it is and to trust in my discernment that I will express it to who it needs to be expressed to in a way that is still, I don't want to say compassionate because I don't know, sometimes it's not compassionate, but where there's a level of intention. I'm not just spewing things to be angry and like, oh, I'm trying to dig you down and revenge. No, it's more of like, you had me fucked up. And because you did, here's the consequence to that. Because that's not something that we want to do at all, whatsoever. So I'm going to express to you how I feel about it. And either it's worth having a conversation about because I do care about you and I do think our relationship can grow from this, or it's not. And this is the last thing I'm saying to you. And you will not be speaking to me again at all. That really depends on how they respond. If they respond with a sense of like, okay, I see that you're angry about this thing and I really want to understand how this happened between us, okay, this means that we can grow. If it's more of like, oh, you talking to me crazy, I'm not gonna have that, and actually it's your fault, then we're in agreement. We're not in the same frequency. We both can't seem to find a way to get past the fact that we're both upset with each other, and that's fine. That's cool. That's not an issue. I lovingly let you go and make space for something else. Every time I've done that, I've always leveled up. I've always had um, just better quality of people, of experiences, of places in my life by letting go of shit that does not feel in alignment with me. And it has always come down to whether or not I'm getting a physical response from them. Because when I'm around my people, I feel alive. I feel joyful. It's easy for me to forget that I have these diagnoses. And when you talk to my girlfriends or my sisters, they'll be like, honestly, we do be forgetting that you have this diagnosis. I used to get irritated about it when I was younger, but now I realize it's because I'm filled with so much love and so much joy, so much energy and vibrancy because I'm around people who are nourishing my spirit, nourishing my environment so that I'm not stressed the fuck out. So those symptoms aren't showing up. That makes a lot of sense. Whereas if I'm not and I'm starting to get sick and I'm starting to notice these different, symptoms coming up, it usually means that I'm about to hit my threshold or that somebody is siphoning energy from me. And I need to be paying attention. Okay? Um, I appreciate this. I drove myself like a pack mule or a draft horse until my physical health gave way. Yeah, it happens to all of us. I think we all end up having that. I think that's one of the things that signals a dark night of the soul journey for us. Maybe even our first one. Carla, the section about hobbies brings to my mind how creativity is always happening relationally through generating pleasurable experiences. Yes, yes. Oh, that was so beautifully said. In this case, between the hobbyist creating a pleasurable activity from engaging in the world around. Now, hobby versus art is the same debate as art versus craft. Pointless in my opinion. Yeah, yeah. I just feel like we're all sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because I think of art as the social practice of humans. Oh, I love that. That's pretty. I could write an essay on this. When you do, Carla, please tag me so I can read it. When you do, because yes, I think that is 100%. Those are all intertwined. They're all interwoven. Trying to separate them is a form of elitism to me. Like that, you're just trying to be elitist of like, well, I have a craft. I mean, it's like, okay, sure. Right? Like, cool. Even when people downplay people's hobbies, I'm like, why though? Why? With all that you can do, why do that? Why do that? Just let them enjoy. If that's their hobby. That's their business. Usually it's because they don't have a hobby themselves and they're pissed off that this person is able to experience joy in the way that they are enjoying themselves. And they're like, wait, how come I can't have that? Oh, it's because I'm top tier. It's because I'm elite and I'm so serious about my life. That's why. And you're actually wasting your time with that hobby. How many of us have been tricked out of being of our hobbies, especially like as teenagers? Like we were hobby. We did this. And then what happened? As we got older, we had to lose ourselves to find our way back to the hobbies that we were doing when we were younger. It's just it's a cycle of life. Serene, love that. Being tuned in, yes. The dark is when I feel God and ancestors whisper loudest. Agreed. Yes. Yes. Tori, yes, you can heal your life. Thank you. That's the name of it. Okay. Yes. Yes, you can heal your life. Thank you guys. Jack, I feel mainstream society is part of why Black women turn the anger inside. Yep, the widespread stereotypes are so damaging and constrictive. Yes, they are. It's important that you don't care. It's important that you don't. Someone called me an angry Black woman. Whoop-de-doo. I still said what I said to you. Like, you start crying, I can start crying. It's not a thing. I will do what I need to do to remind you of my humanity, which means that I feel a range of emotions. I'm not a robot. I'm not only happy and calm. I get angry. I get really angry. I get super sad sometimes. Other times I'm so excited I can't really speak because I'm just like, like it's just so much for me. I experience all the ranges of my emotions: frustration, confusion, annoyance, to feeling blissed out, to feeling euphoric at times. I love the fact that I have range in my emotions. And I don't care if someone only chooses to see one aspect of my range because it's not going to uphold. It's just not. You can sit there and say, like, oh, yeah, Lotus is such a mean person. She's so angry all the time, all angry. And people are going to experience me and be like, are you sure? Because like she was like really sweet. Like, no, I'm telling you, she's always angry. Probably around you because you piss me off. Probably around you because I don't like you or your energy. It's probably a very valid statement for you. But I'm not only that to all people. Like, we need to be okay with that. When we always say this comment about, like, that we're not, a monolith, right? That we're multifaceted, that's included in that saying. Our emotions are included in that. And I feel like the more that we accept that and show up in that way, we start to destigmatize those spaces. So you don't get angry? It's just me. It's the same thing when, like, men are like, "Oh, women are so emotional." It's like, "What? Aren't all humans emotional? Like, what are we talking, like, what's going on here?" And calling it out and being okay with doing that. Are you gonna always be the most liked person? No, definitely not. But you will be cared for, you will be respected. Maybe even a little fear, that's not always a bad thing, okay? But you will also feel loved by yourself first and foremost. I always feel good after if I have to curse somebody out. I'm always like, "You know what? Yeah." It got to that point, and I'm at peace with it. It's very rare where I feel like the need to go back and apologize for my behavior because I really move with a level of intention and discernment in my actions, where before I even give you the end result, I have really sat with it. I really thought about it. I really felt through it. I may have even gotten some counsel or some added professional help from my therapist or my coach to ensure that when I address you, I'm addressing you from a centered space. If that still, after all of that, requires me to curse you out, that is what you're going to receive from me. And I'm not going to feel any way about it because I'm not operating off of just pure passion or instinct. I'm truly taking in consideration of, like, this is how I feel and this is what I think. And I'm aligning those two things. And that's going to be what you receive from me. That's why I can sleep well at night. That's why I can be okay with ending certain dynamics or letting go of a relationship or all the other things that happen in life as you grow and you evolve as an artist. Okay. Sierra. Most women in my family have an autoimmune disorder too. Understanding the spiritual side of this physical illnesses is so important for healing. Thank you for speaking on this. Oh, I'm so happy to be able to provide that for you. And I'm sending my love to the women in your family because autoimmune disorders are tragic. They're ghetto. I don't like them. I don't. I've learned to appreciate the wisdom it provides me, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Yes, pain. Yes, get out now. Yep, exactly. Even if I'm in conflict with good people, I still feel good or relief as we move through and show up. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Uh, Sierra, yes, your body knows what's up. Every time I get stomach pain, gut issues whenever I'm in a space job or around people who are not safe or aligned. Our bodies have a natural alert system. They do. They do. And it usually is our feelings, and we tend to ignore them. Hi, Evelyn. Donna, the soul physical aspect experiencing right now. Carla, the collective combo of autoimmune, pulmonary, and reproductive issues Black women have pretty much triangulated. Now, there's something interesting about the fact that it's a three. It's given like, okay, let me focus. Much triangulate the effects of enslavement of our ancestors that we are here to heal. The wonderful thing is that creating art will heal all those things. It definitely will. Sarah, so good to speak on this. We connect to the wisdom, the body's wisdom. Sierra, Carly, yes, creating art will heal all those things. I say, and it will. We're alchemists. We are alchemists. I feel like that's why I'm so passionate about the dark divines and sharing the understanding of magic. To be able to alchemize, to be able to transmute is a magical thing. It is turning water into wine, like literally, like these are things that we are able to do. Like, man, yes. Yes. Especially for Black women. My work resonates with anybody. And you guys can see that in the comments. We have a range of people, different ages, groups, backgrounds, all those things. Um, but I love that I'm able to center it within that so that Black women know, specifically, I'm speaking to you. This is what you need. This is what you want to experience for your own growth, for your own healing, and you deserve that. And yes, you should be playing more. You should be experiencing more pleasure. You definitely should be experiencing more art, for sure. That whole capitalistic point of view that was put into our communities, we don't have to subscribe to that. Capitalism is not going to save us as Black people. And it's a little harder for our Black male counterparts to comprehend because of the fact that they're men, because they get to still benefit off of patriarchy. Even if it's just a little bit of it, it's hard. But for women, for Black femmes, we understand that those things don't work for us. So what is that answer? It's the act of creation. It's remembering that we create worlds and people and beings and ideas and movements. And we know how to sustain those things as well. And we do that through our joy, through exploring our pleasure and our happiness, by making sure that we are regulating our nervous systems, that we are communing with our sisters, that we are sharing stories and sharing wisdom and advice, that we are connecting back to nature, that we are honoring nature, that we are making sure that nature is protected. We're doing all these things, and all those things that we do feed us. Yes. Jack, Carla, so good. Appreciate your consistent conceptualization of topics. I hope you will expand if you're aligned. Yeah, I do too, Carla. I would love an essay because I'm just like, oh, that feels so good. And then I can cite it, which I'm so excited about. I love citing Black women. But actually, my girl Carla, yeah, she wrote that essay. You're welcome. Yes, get into it. One of my favorite things to do. Oh, I love a good referral. Okay. I love that centering. It's so important. Yes, yes, yes. About the three, autoimmune is the mind, third eye, pulmonary in the heart, reproductive issues in the sacral. Damn. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't those the feminine aspects of the seven chakras? I do believe sacral is definitely feminine for sure. And I believe the heart is too. Now the third eye, I'm not sure, but I feel like that's a yes. I think the crown is dual. I gotta look into it. But if they're all feminine, I mean, the answers are within the ancient texts. Ah, I love it. Okay. Black friends, our joy is my world. Yes, yes, yes. A friend mentioned that heart sacral often time together. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Ah, yes. I love when we do things like this. Okay. Let's get on to the last essay, escape velocity, and then we could do our tapping session. Okay. I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip a lot of this, but I am going to read some parts which I think are necessary. Okay. My friend Michelle has a theory born of long entangled romantic experience. In a nutshell, it goes, when you're going to leave them, they know. The same theory applies to creative recovery. It occurs when you reach what Michelle calls escape velocity. As she puts it, there's this time for blast off, like a NASA space launch, and you're heading for it when wham, you draw to you a test. The test? Yeah, the test. It's like when you're all set to marry the nice guy, the one who treats you right, but Mr. Poison gets wind of it and phones you up. The whole trick is to evade the test. We all draw to we all see this is what I'm saying. We all draw to us the one test that's our total nemesis. I don't fully agree with that, but I'm gonna keep going. A lawyer by trade and a writer by avocation and temperament, Michelle is fond of conspiracy theories, which she lays out in sinister detail. Think of it. You're all set to go to the coast on an important business trip, and your husband suddenly needs you. Super problematic right there, because what? Anyway. Um, for no real reason. You're all set to leave the bad job, and the boss from hell suddenly gives you your first raise in 5 years. Don't be fooled. Listening to Michelle talk, it was clear that her years as a trial attorney stood her in good stead as a creative person. She at least was no longer fooled. But is it really so sinister as she implied? Do we really draw to us a test? I thought about everything Michelle had told me, and I concluded that the answer is yes. I don't fully agree with that. I'm not in the habit of thinking that divine source tests us. And I know that that's something that like is spoken a lot in different religions of like, it's just test. And if you pass it, then glory be. And if you don't, then like, you're damned or something. It's not a test. It's more like an opportunity for you to use the new life experience you gained and the refinement of your skill set to choose differently. That's how I like to look at things like that, right? Because I feel like a test is still very patriarchal, it's still very goal driven. And I don't think that the universe, or at least for me, that doesn't really feel like it makes sense. For what I've been studying, especially when it comes to like dark feminine energy, that's not really it. A lot of times it's initiation. A lot of times it's like, are you ready for this next level of wisdom, for this next level of growth? And in you passing through the initiation, either you are ready for it or you still need time to sit with the wisdom that is already here. You need to explore that. And we'll talk about that a bit more when I go through like Women Who Run with Wolves, because she talks about different initiations that we go through as femmes. And I think that's super important. But to say it's a test, I just feel like that's very not, it's not womanist. It's not black. Just like that need to that either or type thing. It's more of just, I have an opportunity. When you learn about how we learn through feminine energy, it is not an A to B. We talked about that, right? It's not from here to here. It is this one point, right? This is the whole point, right? And we start off here and we have life experience. We come back, we're like, hey, this was like the same thing I went through, but I have more life experience. I've grown, I have more confidence, and I'm actually going to choose something different. And as you choose differently, you're not going off somewhere else. You're cycling again, but you're getting higher and higher and higher. We learn in that aspect when you're talking about the feminine divine, right? Sometimes we spiral down, but most times we're spiraling up. It could be a slow spiral, it could be a fast spiral. That depends on the person and what they're here to experience. But it's never from here to here. Those moments happen within that. Is what creates the structure of you going up the spiral staircase, if that makes sense. I hope this visual makes sense for y'all. It makes sense in my head, but I also have been studying this for a long time. That is not a test. That is an initiation to go to the next level. And you're just being initiated and initiating. Self-initiation is a thing that we experience, especially a lot as Black women, because a lot of our magical systems, divine systems are oral and they're not written, and they tend to change based off of the person that is speaking the wisdom and based on how they filter life. So all of that is to be included in how you're moving around too. You have your own initiations that you go through. Let me know if that makes sense, because I really want to make sure that we understand that. I don't think that it's a test, and I can back it up. Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys time to do that while I find the next page. Okay, let me see. I have had my matcha here this whole time, y'all. Not drinking it. Okay, let's see. Instead of test, chance to choose differently. Level up. Exactly. Yes. Jack. Ooh. All even numbers. Oh my God. It's us really in the comments like, all feminine. Okay, I was right. Yes. Capitalism blocked those three chakras and exploits them in us all. And what's left is corrupted by their obstruction. Okay, now I'm going to take my metaphysical hat off now. I don't know how I got my hat on. No, no, please keep it. I'm a metaphysical girly. I love it. Yes. I'm enjoying using Evolve or Cycle instead of Test. Yeah. Yeah. Like that. It just feels better too, because I never really enjoyed tests. Was I good at them? Sure, because I was masking, right? And I was forced to be an overachiever so that my existence would be valid. So yes, am I good at taking tests? Sure. But like when I really think about it, do I enjoy the aspect of taking? I hate it. I did not enjoy school. I enjoy learning things, but the structure of school is why I'm not a teacher in a traditional sense. Like, I don't like it. I'm just like the structure is corrupt, and it's not helping in the ways in which I'm designed to help. And I know I'm gonna rebel against it. So why even go through that and waste my energy? Agreed. Yeah, tests are weapons in our world. They are. They are. They literally keep children from really learning, because you're learning to pass a test, not learning to integrate the information so you can live your life after you get out of that grade, which is what you need it for. which is why so many kids feel unprepared when they get out of high school or they get out of college, and they're like, what? No life skills were given to me. None. I don't know how to do my taxes. I don't understand healthcare. I don't get that completely. These are things that I need to know to survive. Otherwise, I end up in jail or end up really fucking sick and not get the support that I need. Right? We're constantly doing that. We're constantly capitalism is so deeply rooted in everything. It's really disgusting. I genuinely hate it. Okay. As recovering artists, many of us find that every time our careers heats up, we reach for our nearest wet blanket. We blurt out our enthusiasm to our most skeptical friend. In fact, we call them up. If they don't answer, if we don't, they call us. This is the test. Our artist is a child, an inner youngster, and when they are scared, mommy is what's called for. Unfortunately, many of us have wet blanket mommies and a whole army of wet blanket surrogate mommies. Those friends who have our second, third, and fourth thoughts for us. The trick is not to let them be that way. How? Zip the lip, button up, keep a lid on it. Don't give away the gold. Always remember, the first rule of magic is self-containment. You must hold your intention within yourself, stoking it with power. Only then will you be able to manifest what you desire. So there could be a bit of individualism in that may not apply to certain cultures and people. I want to keep that in mind there too. But I also do agree with the self-containment part. You need to be able to contain yourself first and foremost. And when you get an idea of things like that, something amazing happens to you, you really should know who you can share your joy with. I am someone you can share your joy with. And my girlfriends will tell you, I love to share the joy. Like, let's amp it up. I'm so excited for you. Genuine, because it just feels so good to see someone that I love get exactly what they desire. But my brain is wired that way. Not everybody's brain is wired that way, right? Some of us are wired through that fear of like, oh no, but like, what if it doesn't work out? Right? And we don't want to see them hurt. It's less to do with them and more to do with us. That's very unhealthy ego vibes, right? When we're so worried about other people, it's like they're incompetent. They can't live their own lives and they've been living their lives long before you met them. It just doesn't really make any sense. So there's that aspect there. There's also the understanding that when you're talking about self-containment, it's also like making sure you're in alignment with source, because source is self as well. So before you go and talk to the other human beings that have different filters and discernments and things like that, did you talk to God? Did you talk to your divine source? Did you check with your ancestors? Are we all on the same page? Did you check in with your higher self, your Ori? Did you check in with yourself to see how you feel about it? Or did you move instinctually to go and share this before it had an opportunity to really form, right? I think about, I guess the best example is with newborn babies, why mothers are super protective of like, whoa, 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 wash your hands, right? Like, don't be breathing on my baby too much. And they keep the baby close to them for several different reasons, but a reason in being that this feels safest and I'm going to protect this precious thing that is super fragile. And if you're going to be around it, around my child, you're going to have to go through protocol in order for you to be safe for their development. Otherwise, you can wave from where you're at over there behind the glass wall because you're not touching my kid. I'm not going through that. That fierceness that we have in our parenthood and our motherhood, it's the same energy of like, here's this idea that I have, this feeling, and it feels so good. It's so cute. It's so, oh, my baby. You're not going to let anybody come with their grummy hands and they're like, let me pick up the baby. Let me kiss the baby. It's like, what? Whoa. No. Wash your hands. Let me make sure that you are of the same frequency before you indulge, right? And if we keep that understanding for ourselves when we're moving through our creative journey, it will allow us to deepen our discernment and know who to share with. You'll know, like, oh, you're not going to take care of my baby. You can't share with it right now. Maybe when it gets older and it can do things on its own, maybe it'll have enough, you know what I mean? But right now, it's not y'all. And that's okay. Ideally, in a perfect world, it would be good to have a village, a community of people who you can just share your idea with, share your baby, and they're going to love and care and nurture it simply because they love you and they also understand the sacredness of a new idea, of, new life, right? And they are willing to do that from both aspects. That's ideal. it's an ideal thing, and it takes a lot of intention to make that happen. Other times, it could be like they've had their own issues, their own trauma in life, and it's really hard for them to see that it would be any better for you if it wasn't good for them because they haven't healed on their journey. But I wanna just keep that in mind. Like, share the information, share the joy, share the idea with people that will expand and help it grow. But if they're not doing those 2 things and you don't feel safe, I wouldn't share it. If the minute you share that idea with that person, they're already poking holes in it, they're already killing off your joy and your idea, that's not your person. That is a wet blanket. We're not talking about them. But I do feel like that keeping shit to yourself can be really dangerous because sometimes you do need another perspective. And I apply that a lot to romance and dating. I think it's a lost art because it's gotten a little corrupt along the way where, we don't let the community in anymore when we're dating somebody. We're like, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. And then I'll let everybody know when I'm proposed to and I'm married. It's like, you may not have seen all those damn red flags though. But your family, if they're really your family, if they're really your girls, if they're really your people, they might have seen those red flags and it could have saved you months and years of heartache had you felt safe enough to share that idea, that joy, that love with them. You see what I mean? So it really does depend on the circumstances. Because I feel like that is why a lot of us are in unhealthy dynamics, why we've made really poor decisions. It's because we've been trying to do it all on our own. We didn't consult with source. We didn't consult with our team, our family, our loved ones. We felt that we could do it all on our own. And we continued to turn a blind eye to things or feelings or moments where we weren't happy. Because, like, can you do it all on your own? Sure. But you got to be really tapped in. That when you feel that first feeling, that you act on it and don't push it away because you think the person is handsome or attractive or, they make you feel good sometimes. In that moment, though, you didn't feel great. You have to acknowledge that. And a lot of us don't have that ability yet to really trust our gut and our instinct like that. But when you share those moments with people who love and care about you, who genuinely do, they can help support you. And be like, hey, girl, it's like the third time you've mentioned that, they do that. And you don't really seem happy when that happens. Like, is that okay? Sometimes they can help you recognize the patterns that you're willing to dismiss because you really want the end result badly. And we do need that, including with our creative life and our joy and our ideas. I just want to put that out there. Okay. And if it doesn't make sense, please let me know so I can explain it. Okay. In order to achieve escape velocity, we must learn to keep our own counsel, to move silently among doubters, to voice our plans among our allies, and to name our allies accurately. Make a list. Those friends who will support me. Make another list. Those friends who don't. If you don't have friends who support you, those are not your friends. Super simple. They don't support you, that's not a friend at all. There are plenty of people who have no idea to what extent I do when I'm talking about metaphysics and teaching, but they support me. They support me. Even if they don't understand what I do professionally, they support me. I have a girlfriend that's a doctor. I don't know the science of it all, but I support the fact that she's a doctor. That's dope. That's so cool. And I love that for her. You see what I mean? Like, if they don't support you, that's not your friend. So that list that you make, that should be a list of people you're going to be letting go of as soon as possible. Okay? Name your wet blankets for what they are. Wrap yourself in something else. Dry ones, fluffy heated towels. Do not indulge or tolerate anyone who throws cold water in your direction. Forget good intentions. Forget that they didn't mean it. This is where we let go of the benefit of the doubt energy, right? Remember to count your blessings and your toes. Escape velocity requires the sword of steely intention and the shield of self-determination. They will try to get you. Don't forget that, warns Michelle. Set your goals and set your boundaries. I would add, set your sights and don't let the ogre that looms on the horizon deflect your flight. Okay. We finished for the section. I think the last part was beautifully said and easy to understand. Like, really make sure that your sense of self is rooted in you, your desires, what you want, what source wants for you. And then you move outward, that internal, external, externally, your people, your village are also in alignment with you. That is how you fortify your faith. That is how you're able to move forward in faith and truly live out that wisdom that comes with being an artist. Have the courage and the confidence to show up and express your art, even if other people don't get it just yet. It'll allow you to have the patience that you need, the perspective that you need. It'll allow you to practice more, to play more. All of the tools and resources that are required for you to live an artistic life, to allow your life to be an artist date all the time, that's what you need. You need to fortify the internal and the external, and they need to both be on the same page. And if they're not on the same page, if internally you hear that there's that sensor coming up saying that you're not good enough, da da da, go and get the professional help that you need so that you can begin to quiet that voice down or change its talking points completely. And then externally, if you find that you have relationships that do not serve you, that they don't care, stop making those relationships a priority. And I'm gonna say that wholeheartedly, I don't care who they are to you. And this is somebody who had to let go of I've had to go no contact with my mom plenty of times because I'm like, "Girl, every time I get to a certain point, your initial response is to try to say something that is devastating to me. And because of how much I love you and I respect you, you actually have the ability to really create seeds of doubt in my life. And I am fully aware of that now, which means that I can't share my joy with you because you will poison it. And you'll do it out of love. You won't do it because you're malicious. You're doing it simply because you're just like, I'm protecting my daughter. And I had to realize that it was a really hard, that's probably one of my hardest lessons to learn, that I could not share my joy with my mom was a really hard thing. It's something I still get really sad about because I would love to share all the amazing things that go on in my life. But I know that she would find a way for it to be a bad thing, right? Where if I share my joy with my sisters, I get even more excited, even more elated. So I don't care who it is. That woman literally is the reason why I exist. That's how serious I am about my joy and about feeling protected and about feeling safe. Titles are just titles. That person has to embody what the title symbolizes in order for them to receive the benefits. You don't just get it because that's your title. You get it because you follow through with action. And if you're not following through with the correct action, I am not giving you any more energy for you to explode my life or implode my life. I'm not going to do that with you. No. And that requires a level of ruthlessness. And we've talked about this before, about how important it is to know that and to be okay with that. And I know it's like, oh, some people are like, girl, that's a lot. You're asking me to do a lot. I don't know how I feel about like that's my mom. Like culturally speaking, like our parents, we were yes. And every time you talk to that person, your parent, right, or that loved one that you care, you revere, you end up feeling like shit afterwards. How long are you gonna be able to deal with that though? Because your mom's not living your life. Your father's not living your life. Your uncles, your aunties, your grandparents, they're not living your life. They can only influence it if you allow them to. Me not allowing my mom to influence my life does not mean that I don't have respect for her or love for her. I understand the concept of duality. Two things can be true at once. I can love and respect her and know that when it comes to the joy in my life and the way that I make decisions, she is not the person to go to. And that does not make her any less of a mother or a human being. It just means that I cannot go to her for those things. I don't have to attach more meaning onto something if it's not there. Okay? Yes, tests are weapons in our world. Yes, it says person must embody what the title symbolizes. Yes. So we finished. I'm so excited. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if anything else came up for you. So that we can go over that before we do our EFT really quickly. We should be done in like 10 minutes, y'all. I'm just pulling up the EFT script right now. I think joy scares some folks. Yeah, it does. Because we are so familiar with pain and and heartache, and not getting what we want and being told that we won't have everything and being told that money doesn't grow on trees and all these debilitating responses. To think that joy could be something that we get to have can be really scary, for sure. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Yes, protect your joy at all costs. I've also been no contact with my mom, hard but necessary. Yeah, it sucks. It's like, damn, girl, I really would like to share these things with you. Like, get it together, right? But then it's also being aware of the fact that though I can't do it with my mom, there are a lot of women who are like bonus mothers to me. And I get to share it with them. And they give me the exact response that I need, or most times something even better. Some of them are my aunties, some of them are my mentors, but I can tell them, and that love and that nourishment that I would really want from my mom, they give me. And I had to get to a point in my life where this is a part of healing the mother wound too. And I will be talking about that next year. I'm very excited because I've been asked a lot about it. And getting to the point where that satisfies me. Not like I'm getting scraps or like I'm just taking what I can get. I'm really asking myself, what is it that I want? I want XYZ. And I am getting XYZ, but I'm hyper fixated on the fact that it's not coming from this source because I have been conditioned to believe that it has to be from her. Mothers mother differently. And we talk about this in Women Run with Wolves. There are different type of moms. My mom is a Baba Yaga. And if you know the story, that's how Shorty is. That's also why I am so confident and I'm able to tap into my darkness like that because I had to, at a really young age, know who I was and what I stood for. Because if I didn't, I was going to get eaten alive, like from a really young age. And I can sound very like, oh my God, Lois. And I'm sure there's moments of it where it does feel like that. But who I am as a woman, the reason why I can say what I say, the reason why I show up and I can be as vulnerable as I am, as soft-hearted, as kind, as compassionate, is because I had spent my childhood and my teenagehood really fortifying who I was. I am very much at the point where it's like, if I can tell my mom what it is and what it's not, you don't phase me at all whatsoever. That is why I really am so unbothered. It's because of the mother that I had. She did her job. It just was not in the way in which I thought it was going to look for me. However, because I'm such a divine being, because I'm so abundant, Source still blessed me with the softer aspects of motherhood that I wanted to have and gave it to me 3 times over. There are women in my life that I am grateful, dead and alive, that have come and loved on me as grandmothers, as aunties, as bonus mothers, as spiritual mothers. I have so much of that. And I think that's a part of healing that wound is realizing that the solve can come from anywhere. It's not going to come from the person that inflicted the wound, though. And that's okay. That's okay. That's like getting bit by a snake and being like, the snake comes back and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me kiss and make it feel better. Like, that's not what the snake does, girl. Like, no. You're going to probably go somewhere else to get the venom removed. To start healing the wound, you're going to need other tools. Eventually, there might be some self-healing that comes, right? But you got to get the medicine first. You got to get these other things from outside sources. And I think that that's something a lot of us neglect when we're talking about mother wounds. We feel like it better be from our mom. Otherwise, I'm not healed. And I just feel like that's unfortunate. You're just not going to get what you need because that requires that person to do a shit ton of healing that they may or may not be interested in doing. Some moms are into it and they're like, oh, I need to change because I want to keep my child close to me and I got to figure out what the hell that is. And then some moms are like, yeah, no, I did my part. She can function on her own. She seems to be doing well. Like she's alive. She's not like it's not terrible. Like she's good. Both of those are moms. I know it sounds crazy. They're both mothers. They're just in different ways. People are unique. Human beings are unique. And I think when we allow ourselves to realize that about the women that raised us in particular and realize that they are a woman too. My mom responds to me the same as she responds to anybody else in her life, though. Same energy. She's consistent like that, right? It doesn't change because I'm her daughter. I would like it to, but that's not the case. And that helps me to better understand the decisions that she's made and to who she's become as a woman and as a mother, and the decisions that I have made as a daughter and as a woman. Some of them are respected by her, some of them aren't. Those that aren't are enforced. But it comes with the growth. That's like a little bonus. But we will talk about mother wounds. I promise. I'll talk about it from like the neuroscience aspect, metaphysically speaking. We're going to talk about it. I know people ask me about it all the time. And as someone who is constantly healing a mother wound that is damn near severed off parts of my body, yeah, you can exist in a world where you have a deep, unwavering love for your mother and also have really healthy boundaries in place to keep you protected from your mom. Both things can happen. I don't want it to be everyone's story, but it tends to be a lot. Okay? Okay. Honestly, never thought about it like that. Just figured it was, I just missed it. Let me see. Did I miss something? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. This was such a generous offering, Lotus. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Carla. Maybe I can receive energy from someone else. You definitely can. Can't wait. Thank you. Yes, you definitely can. I am a living testament that love that you desire, you probably have already had it in your life. And you were super fixated on it being from that one person that you forgot that it was from other people. And we tend to suppress memories. All right. We'll talk about that a different time. Let me get into the script because we'll just get into it and be there. Okay. While I get the script up, what I want you to do is go ahead and grab some water. And I want you to take a nice big sip. Take a sip of my matcha. Cheers, 12 weeks. Woo! Okay. And get yourselves together. I'm going to pull it up. Hold on 1 second. Just responding. Also, too, I was supposed to invite my niece. I'm gonna bring my niece onto one of the lives because she's always texting like, "Hey, can I come up and say hi? Can I come up and say hi?" I'm like, "Girl, please. Some things are just for me." So cute. I love her. All right. Negative round. Negative round, negative round, negative round. Yes, 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 yes. So, for those who've never tapped with me before, welcome to the party. So, tapping is emotional freedom techniques, and it is the beautiful art form and healing modality of tapping on acupressure points along the body, communicating to the mind and the body that there are things that we are going to explore and bring up to our surface. There are plenty of tapping points. I just use the universal tapping sequence for large groups because it seems to be the most effective. However, if you were doing a one-on-one session with me with EFT, the tapping points will look different because it's going to be based off of the trauma that we are rewiring. I just want to keep that in mind because I will be launching my one-on-one EFTs in January, and I feel like that's something we don't talk about a lot. So we'll go over those tapping points, and then from there, you're communicating to the body, hey, there's this thing I'm talking about that doesn't make me feel really great. I want to bring it to the forefront. I want to alchemize it. I want to transmute it. I want to accept it so I can move forward, and it's no longer influencing my decisions from a day-to-day basis. So we do that in the negative round. Then the positive round, we're doing the same thing, but we're that space that we cleared out in the negative round, we're filling it with positive statements of here's how I actually want to feel. Here's how I want to look at the world. Here's what really is true. Here's what is divine for me, right? And we do that. It's amazing. There are going to be different ways that you'll feel the energy moving in the body. You might be belching. You might tear up. You might get cold. You might get really hot. You might yawn. These are all ways that let you know that the energy is reconnecting to itself. And this energy runs along meridians that are within us and around us that also make up our aura and allow us to move throughout the world and feel safe. The more you practice EFT, the more you can strengthen your aura, the more you can rewire your mind to believe narratives and systems that actually move you forward and to release the trauma that's in the body that has been weighing you down. It's a really beautiful method. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. And I love being able to do these sessions for the community because I know how imperative having a really good tool in your self-care toolkit can be. Okay. If there's one tapping point that feels really good to you and you want to just stay there, I do it. I always tell you guys to trust your intuition over me. Always. You know what your body wants. Your body knows what your body wants because it's your body. So if your body's like, stay here, stay there. You're still going to get the impact that you need. It's just going to be tailored to you and your experience. That's totally fine. Okay. Some ways to tap, you can use the side of your, that's the tapping points. You can either tap, pulse, rub, hover for people who are super sensitive to energy. And for those who have limited mobility, you can envision yourself tapping in that place. It requires more mental effort. However, it still can provide you the energetic and mental benefits that come with tapping, okay? And physical benefits, okay? Tapping points that we're going to go over for our session. We have the side of hand between the pinky knuckle bone and the wrist bone. You would lightly tap, pulse, rub, hover, or envision here. You would do the same thing at the top of the head where the crown chakra would be. Start at the brow, on either side of the third eye chakra point. Then you trace the brow bone and you would tap here on the side, on the ocular bone, not on the temple. Okay. I'm tapping on my glasses right now because that's where they are. Then you would trace underneath the eyes on the ocular bone, tap underneath on the bone, underneath the nose, above the top lip, in the crease of the chin, collarbone, that soft area right below the collarbone is where you would tap. And you can bring them together, meet in the middle. That's your heart point. Then underneath the arm, at the end of your armpit, or if you wear a bra, it'd be where your bra is at. Those are our tapping points. You don't have to remember them at all. You don't have to at all. You just have to look at me and repeat the words. Your voice is medicine. Make sure that you're also reciting along with me. Yes, my voice does provide some level of healing because it is trained to, but I always will advocate that you use your voice, your medicine, because you may not always have access to me being able to speak life into you, but you always have access to your voice, and your voice is honestly way more powerful. Okay? All right, negative round. Let's do it. Gonna lightly tap here. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. And I want you to repeat after me. Okay? Even though I'm here at the end of this journey, a part of me still doesn't trust that my creativity is enough. And I can admit that without pretending otherwise. Top of the head. I don't always trust myself to follow through. Sometimes I doubt my own path, and I hate that it feels like a setback. Brow. There are moments where I want clarity handed to me because I don't feel safe in the unknown. Side of eye. Sometimes the mystery feels like abandonment and not guidance. And I get scared that the darkness of creativity will swallow me instead of transform me. Underneath the eye. I still associate the unknown with danger and not possibility. I judge myself for not feeling brave enough or for slowing down or for needing reassurance underneath the nose. And my relationship with play is complicated. I say I want joy, but I treat my imagination like it needs permission or a business plan just to exist. Chin. And I'm so tired of trying to be productive just to feel worthy. I'm exhausted from always proving instead of enjoying. Collarbone. And yes, I'm scared of the test. I'm scared of having everything disrupted right when things are finally working. I'm scared I'll sabotage the blessing I prayed for. Heart. Sometimes I get close to expansion and I freeze. Sometimes I get really close to receiving and I run. Other times I don't trust myself with the success I say I want. Like, how would I sustain it? Underneath the arm. This is the part of the journey where it could fall apart. And I'm acknowledging that fear honestly without pretending I'm already past it. And with trusting that if it does fall apart, it's for a reason. And that reason is always to benefit me. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing into the lower belly, letting that air rise up into the heart. And as it does, open up the shoulders. Let the shoulders pull back. Maybe feel a slight pinch in your shoulder blades if that feels good for you. And then exhale and soften into the moment. Take another deep inhale, breathing in and softening. Okay? And take a sip of water, please, while I pull up the positive round. Okay. One second. Let me know how you're feeling below. I hate when I see like typos. I'm like, I gotta fix them. So I don't repeat the typos out loud. Let me see how you guys are doing below. Okay. Yeah, my nephew, you guys will probably meet him when he's older. I just, for everyone's sake. um, okay, here we go. My computer's moving slowly. Work with me. We're gonna start tapping on the side of the hand. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. See if you can bring a smile to your face, okay? And I want you to repeat after me. I trust that my creativity is a real part of my purpose, and I am choosing to honor it with presence, patience, and devotion. Top of head. I am building a creative life that feels good in my body and aligned with who I truly am and what I truly want. Brow. I welcome the mystery that guides my ideas and uncovers my next evolution. I am learning to move with it and let it reveal when it's ready. Side of eye. I feel more comfortable in the dark, especially in the creative process. I recognize that this is where breakthroughs and power find me. Underneath the eye, I let my imagination play and experiment freely. Everything I create contributes to my growth and satisfaction. Underneath the nose, I feel proud of how far I've come and has nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with me staying committed to myself and my artistry. Chin, I trust my ability to show up for what I'm calling in, that I am capable of handling the blessings and miracles that are lining up for me right now. Collarbone, my creativity is resilient and it knows how to rise and expand, how to ebb and flow, and how to make room for joy, pleasure, and stamina. Heart, I am cultivating a life that inspires me daily, that feels romantic, intimate, and beautifully crafted by my hands and my heart. Underneath the arm, I am flourishing. I am guided, and I am beyond ready to receive the opportunities, resources, and connections that amplify my artistry and sustain my joy. I'm gonna say that one more time, okay? Because that was just so juicy. All right. I am flourishing. I am guided. I am ready to receive the opportunities, resources, and connections that amplify my artistry and sustain my joy. Take a nice deep inhale. Place your hands over your heart chakra. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing into the heart, expanding that love, expanding that clarity, that wisdom, that joy. And that exhale, letting it go into the universe, paying it forward to everyone that's on this live, all your loved ones, those in your communities, even people in places in the world we've never met or seen. A nice deep inhale, breathing into the heart space, expanding the lungs to full capacity. And on that exhale, as we smile, you bring a smile. On that exhale, we smile and bring one to our face. Oh my goodness. Nice big smile, letting go, coming home to ourselves, and celebrating the fact that we have committed to 12 weeks. We have shown up for this week and allowed ourselves to expand our understanding of our creativity and our artistry, to commune with like minded beings, to share our insights and our thoughts, to be well received, to be well held, cared for. And all this benefits us. It allows us to unfold and to evolve with more ease and more joy and more beauty. And it also allows us to pay it forward, to know that we showed up and cared for one another. And what a beautiful thing that is to experience and to witness. Take another deep inhale, breathing in And I exhale, let go, drop your hands, bring a smile to your face. Come back to the moment with me. Ah, thank you so much for being here with me. I adore you so much. Thank you for this journey. We literally started this at the beginning of fall. It was literally fall equinox. We're now in the last Sunday of the year. We have dedicated Sundays to showing up, exploring our creativity, redefining what it means to be an artist, taking time to integrate and relax and play around. And I really hope that this series, this experience has been fruitful to you, that's allowed you to gain more wisdom, that you've been able to utilize the framework of the artist way and the nuances that I've added from my own personal experience as a Black woman, as a creative, and that it allowed you just to have a different outlook on your creative life. And that you'll come and join me as we have more sessions in the future that won't be based on this book, but they'll be based on different topics for each month as we move into 2026. So we'll be leaning more into dark feminine energy, into the metaphysics, into the neural aesthetics of life. And for my pay subscribers, I am going to be sending out an email in January. I generally think it's going to be like late January, though, for sure. Um, like a little thank you for rocking with me and helping support my lifestyle because your subscriptions help me pay my bills. And I'm really appreciative of it. Um, there are tons of things to explore too for paid subscribers. I have tons of essays that are really amazing that can help you understand how you can honor the darkness within and allow yourself to explore the fullness of your power. And there's gonna be some more great things happening. I'm really doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and I'm really excited for what we're going to experience together as a community. And I just really want to tell you that I love you so much. Thank you for being with me. Okay. Hi, Leticia. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Yay. Yes. Life Deck is happening in the new year. So I've been setting it up with my team, and my team is me and the ancestors and my sisters. um, it feels like what I'm so on Wolf Moon, which is the third, I may be having a live, but I'm also dropping my luminaries collection. So in my 20s, I used to create these mists that were for wealth, for prosperity, for protection and clarity, and then one for self-love and self-worth. And they did really well. They were amazing. And there was a season for it, and people loved it. It was really great. I still have some of them laying around. I was gonna bring a bottle to show you like what they look like, but the new bottles are so different because we're elevating the experience. So I'm gonna be dropping my luminaries collection, and it literally is gold is for solar, silver is for lunar, and they have their own unique blends. They are homemade Florida waters, but I call them aura waters because they help to expand the aura, to protect the aura, to call in things that you want to call into your life. I'm dropping those pre-order on the 3rd. So because of that, I want to make sure that I'm not overlapping what I have to do in the back end because I want to make sure that the orders get out so that you guys would have it before the full moon of January or the new moon of January. So that's what I'll be doing. So you'll be seeing a lot of content for that, like on my Instagram, probably in the email to just kind of let people know. People are really excited. I'm so excited. Y'all are excited. If you know me or if you met me in person, quite often I get complimented on how I smell. I do often smell amazing, very Rihanna coded. And I'm excited to kind of share that. It's another way for my energy to be with you in moments that like maybe I can't be one-on-one or in real time. So I'm very excited about that. That's what I'm focusing in on. It's a limited um edition. It is small batch, so I'm only making a few of them. And I may do it seasonally, but I know I'm being called to do it now, so I will be doing it then. And then the Lotus Life Deck will be a 3-session experience, and it will most likely be the end of January, mid-February, maybe late February, and then late March. It's to honor the patriarchal New Year, which is January 1st, but again, that's time as a concept. Then the Lunar New Year, which is mid-February, but I might push it a week back. And then we have the Zodiac New Year in March. So we'll have those 3 sessions. And within that, You'll come together with other like-minded people. We'll have the Canva template, and I'll be explaining each section to you and giving you time to play around. And it's going to be fun. It'll be 2-hour sessions for each one. And the goal is to get you prepared so that when you're on your own, you're still updating it, you'll be able to do so. I feel like I showed you guys my updated version. Let me see. I could show you guys really quickly because I'm sure it's pulled up somewhere. So yes, for the Lotus Life deck, that will be an experience that will be happening. I'm not going to be hosting it on Substack because it will be a paid experience. However, maybe what I might do is use a live to go over what it looks and feels like. So if people are interested, they'll be able to do that. And I might do that in early January. Let me show you guys what it looks like really quickly. This one is updated. I have so many versions of it because I've been doing this for like 6 years, y'all. There are so many versions of this. Um, Here we go. Okay. This is the most recent one. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys really quickly and take you with me. I'm very excited too. It's gonna be so much fun. It really is such a good time. Okay. Let's see. Doo-doo-doo. Here's how it looks. Right? This is like the first page, and then you would go and you would see like we'll talk about like spiritual connection, what that looks and feels like. I should probably pull it away a little bit more. Like what that looks and feels like. It's gonna be so much fun. We'll talk about energy and blueprint. We'll talk about how you want your body to look. We'll talk about style and energy, all these things. And this is not just a collage and a mood board, right? Really and truly, it's more than that because each page is encoded with my energy, which just tedious. It took a lot of time to do that. So there's a lot of me woven into this. You'll also notice too that you'll get EFT scripts for some of the sessions. You'll get for some of the pages. You'll get guided meditations. A lot of people have a hard time envisioning their dream lives because it can get overwhelming. Like Jack said earlier, a lot of us can be afraid or scared of joy, and that can be reflected in the process of creating a vision board. And that's why we have a life deck because it allows us to really evolve with life. Okay. So we'll be doing that together. I'm looking forward to it. And yes, I feel like that's everything. I'm gonna drop a whole bunch of stuff within like the next 2 weeks because I have some back end after party notes that I have to finally publish. And I'll be publishing the replay for last week and this week. So you're gonna be getting a lot of postings from me. And then I'll be reposting some of my older essays that I think are relevant to the energy that we're going through right now. And then new things will be dropping in February, like new content. But I have plenty of content on here for y'all to dive into, okay? Like, it's gonna be so much fun. This is like everything I've been looking for. I'm saving to join in January. Yes, yes, yes. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm looking forward to just having the time experience with y'all. It's always a good time. It's always a good group of people. We come together, we connect. It's beautiful. Sia knows, yeah. Sia has been locked in and we have enjoyed it. I Her deck is phenomenal, first and foremost. Like I was just like, yeah, this is amazing. But yes, we'll share more of that. Maybe what I'll do is I might even have um like a friend or a previous client come on and just kind of share. But people have been able to manifest new homes, marriages, children, because the clarity is just so prevalent in being able to do the somatic therapy alongside the envisioning. So, yeah. All right. I love y'all so much. Have a beautiful day.